Now, we do want to take you to Montreal and that big announcement in Quebec provincial politics that we brought you live last hour, the resignation of Quebec's Liberal leader. The decision to quit by Pablo Rodriguez comes as police investigate allegations of possible vote buying during the party's leadership race earlier this year. His move leaves the Liberals leaderless with a provincial election looming next year. But Rodriguez says he feels a personal obligation to step down.
I took this decision solely out of a sense of duty for my party, which I sincerely love, for Quebec, and for my country. The Quebec Liberal Party is bigger than any of us. It has weathered storms, it has risen time and time again, and it will rise again.
And the CBC's Alexander Silberman is on this story. He was there for that announcement and joins us now from Montreal. So you were listening in to that announcement. Can you remind our national audience of what went wrong for Quebec's Liberal leader, or Liberal Party rather, and all of those calls for him to make this move?
Well, Arthi, a lot went wrong for the party in a very short period of time. This resignation following a stretch of turmoil that played out over the course of a month, with one political crisis really after another. It started with the expulsion of the two members of the Quebec Liberal Party's caucus, one of them facing an active ethics investigation. And then you had these allegations that were published in the Journal de Montréal alleging that Pablo Rodriguez paid his campaign, paid members $100 cash to vote for him as part of his leadership bid during the party's leadership race back in June. Then more recently in the same newspaper, you also had allegations that members were reimbursed donations of $500 in cash-filled envelopes. Certainly the optics of that, not great for the party, and that practice would actually be illegal under Quebec law if it does indeed turn out to be true. Last week as well, you also had Quebec's anti-corruption police announcing that they're launching this investigation into the Quebec Liberal Party. So all of these individual crises, really one blow after another, compounding. Last week, Rodriguez insisted that he would stay on as leader. He had only been on the job for 6 months, really just insisting that he was determined to fight it out, that he had done nothing wrong, but things just quickly turned, that pressure mounted, and it simply became too much and really a distraction to the party for him to stay on. So he was forced to, of course, make this decision today to step down out of what he says is a sense of duty to the party. Even though he insists he did nothing wrong, he says it was a necessary step.
Now, this leaves the party in a really bad spot because they go from this good energy of a new leader just 6 months ago to being now leaderless and facing a re-energized Parti Québécois next year at the polls because there is a provincial election coming up. Tell us a little bit about how the party, where the party goes from here.
Yeah, that's right, Arthi. I mean, there's no good time for a political crisis of this scale, but the timing is very challenging for whoever takes on the leadership next. The party is 10 months away from the next Quebec election, and things were going fairly well up until this point. They were gradually making some progress in the polls, starting to gain support from Francophone voters in particular, outside of Greater Montreal. That was something Rodriguez spoke to in his resignation speech today. But now the party is in a very difficult spot to rebuild. You take a look at the polls here in Quebec, and the Parti Québécois, the separatist party, is surging ahead of the governing CAQ, and the Liberals are really trailing, struggling to find support beyond Greater Montreal, and struggling in particular to gain support from Francophone voters. So they have a very difficult situation where they're going to have to work hard to turn things around, rebuild their image, and try and convince voters in a very short stretch of time that they're a viable option going forward, especially in an election where the leading party that is currently ahead in the polls is proposing another referendum on Quebec independence within their first mandate. So Rodriguez today reaffirming, insisting that it's important for Quebecers to have a viable option that supports federalism, that is opposed to the idea of a referendum as the party, as the province heads towards an upcoming provincial election.
Thanks for this, Alexander. That's the CBC's Alexander Silberman in Montreal.